Thank you so much for coming down today. I know that this has been a really stressful couple of days. We met briefly yesterday, but I wanted to introduce myself again. I'm the child protection and social worker that's been assigned to your case to work with you and Jasmine. My name is Kelly Leaf, and I really appreciate the fact that you guys were able to change your schedule and come down here. That's a really big deal, and I appreciate that. Jasmine is in the playroom, and you got to see the toys, and she looked like she was having a pretty good time. We're not going to do any further discussions with her, any kind of interviews, until you and I have had a chance to talk a little bit longer. As you know, a child protection report was made. I'm not here to kind of argue the truth or falsehood of that. What I'm here to do is to talk about kind of your situation, your living situation for the past 6 months. Talk about what we need to do to kind of keep Jasmine safe, and frankly, just give you the opportunity to tell me how you're feeling if you feel like you want to share that.
It's been moving really fast. You were at the house yesterday, and today we're here, and you asked about how we're going to keep Jasmine safe, and I feel like she's already really safe with us.
Yeah. What are you talking about? We're her parents. Of course she's safe with us.
Yeah, and this is the only place we got right now, and I'm not sure what you're asking us to do.
Well, and I think that there's a lot of options as far as what we can do together. So some of the things, if you think about safety as a spectrum, and on one end you have danger and on the other hand you have safety, we're going to talk about some of the things that might be dangerous for Jasmine right now, but also some of the things that are safe. What are some of the other safety things that you think of that might, things that you think I should know that might?
Well, I think that as long as she's with Jordan and me, that she's going to be safe. So, I mean, we don't have anyone else.
We keep her, we feed her, we have clothes for her. I mean, we take good care of her.
So let's put clothes and food and needs under the safety section. One of the things that I saw in the home, and it's not really a danger issue, but the home was real chaotic. And from what I've seen of you and talking so far, Latasha and Jordan, your area of the house is relatively clean and neat and well taken care of, and it seems like there's a lot of activity in the house and a lot of people coming and going.
A lot of junk. We have a lot of things because we brought a lot of things into this apartment, and a lot of these things that are sitting here, like the boxes and the bags, these are just our things from our house.
Okay.
So
And yeah, my friends stop by,
Sure.
daily.
Okay.
But they're my buds, my friends. Why aren't they allowed to come?
They're not allowed to come. What I'm talking about is the entire home environment, and just I know that Latasha, you're working full time, and I know that you've been working at finding employment. Have you been seeing some of the behaviors from Jasmine at school, at home?
She is. You've seen Jasmine. She's very bright, but at times she can be kind of quiet, and her mood just changes very quickly.
Okay.
One minute she's calm, the next minute she's angry.
Okay.
And it's harder to manage.
Is that typical for her? Is that kind of your experience with her?
In the past, I know that there was a couple of phone calls from the school where she hit another child, but it hasn't been like this to this extent.
Did the teacher talk to you about sexualized language? Did she explain what she meant by that?
The teacher said that she uses like sexy language, but whatever that means. I mean, she's 5 years old and she sometimes watches TV, and so we figured she picked that up from watching television.
Sure. She is using phrases that are pretty blunt, and I'm going to say this is kind of shocking. She grabbed a little boy on the playground and tried to kiss him and said, "Do me, baby, do me." And I don't, I'm not sure where that comes from, but it's very kind of specific sexualized language. And I also need to tell you that that's not typical for children her age. It's the kind of more adult behavior that we don't see in children who are 5. There's been a lot of incidences of her touching her privates a lot, and the teachers had to ask her several times, to keep her hands away from her privates. There's been issues taking off her clothes and urinating on the floor.
That has never happened here at home.
Okay.
So,
Have there been any behaviors at home that you've been concerned about?
not really, other than just the rapid mood change, where she gets angry, and she gets angry, so she gets explosive. She's 5 years old. She gets pretty explosive, but other than that, she's a really good girl.
But what I'd like to talk to you about is referring her to a mental health provider. We have a really good resource at Washburn Child Guidance Center, and what they can do is a therapist can talk to Jasmine and kind of, bringing up the mood swings and explosive anger for a child that age.
My 5-year-old does not need a therapist. You've got to be kidding me. She's 5.
Well, and what we're going to do first
What is this going to do to her? How is this going to help her?
That's a really good question. Remember what I said, assessment. I don't know that your 5-year-old needs a therapist. We need to start from the beginning and find out if there's any behavior to be concerned about. If she has been the victim of sexual abuse, you need to know that it's absolutely critical to address that issue with her and to start building some support. But the first thing to do is to talk to the therapist who's doing the assessment and to see if there's an issue. I think you're really going to like Cammie. She's a very family-friendly worker, and we'll all meet together so that Cammie can talk about the process that Jasmine's going to go through in getting her mental health needs met. Okay, do you have any other questions?
Well, I'm still very shocked about this, but you know what? We got to do what we got to do to keep Jasmine safe, so,
And you know what, if there's services that you need for support, either of you, we can talk about providing that, because I want to make you the best, safest parents that I can for Jasmine. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Kelly, what brings you to my office today?
Thanks so much for seeing me right away, Cammie.
Oh, no
we've got a real serious one. I've got a little girl, she's 5, and we've got allegations of pretty serious sexual abuse. And let me tell you about some of the things that we're seeing.
I'm gonna get a notepad. I'll take some notes.
Yeah, definitely. No, that's good. I want you to know too, I've talked to the parents. I told them that you and I were going to be meeting,
Okay.
and that I'm referring Jasmine for an assessment. They've signed some releases so that we can start tracking her history of behavior issues and relating that to. I think that we're going to see some trauma with this child. I think that she's been through a lot.
Can you get a little more specific about what you're
definitely.
seeing with her, so I can look back?
So we've got a report from the school.
Okay. Those are definitely some symptoms of kids that have experienced some trauma.
Yeah, that's
So that's very concerning.
That's why I called you.
Yeah. So that's what we'll do. We'll do some ASQs with the parents, and I'll refer out for sexual screening for Jasmine. I'll also do a screening myself for PTSD.
Excellent.
So I'll just explain the process with the parents, and then we'll go from there.
Great. Thank you so much, Cammie.
No
I feel much
problem.
better.
Thank you, Kelly, for coming in.
Okay. So thank you, Jordan and Latasha, for coming and meeting with us today. This is Cammie. She's the therapist that I was telling you
How
about.
are you doing?
And so what I've asked, Cammie's an expert on trauma and children's mental health issues, and so I've asked her to kind of explain the process today, so that you can understand kind of what's going on with Jasmine and why we've been concerned, as I'm sure you've been concerned. So
I want to thank you guys both for coming here. I know a lot has been thrown at you in these couple of days, so I know that's been really tough. And I want to say that me and Kelly have connected, and we talked for an hour yesterday, and she kind of filled me in on some concerns that she was having, but it's just not about what the report says. I want to get your perspective on what's going on. So my role here is really to figure out what are the concerns of Jasmine, the things that she's displaying at daycare, some of the aggression that she's displaying, some of the sexual explicit behaviors, and so I want to get it across all settings. And so I do have the report from school, but I also want to do what I call the ASQSE screening. And so what this is a social and emotional tool that we do with parents, and so it's to get your perspective on what's going on at home. And so some questions might be, does Jasmine seem more jumpier around certain people or in certain settings? Is she eating? Is she showing regression? And those are things like, you know, she's 5 years old, she's already been potty trained, or she's starting to pee in herself now, or use her bodily functions inappropriately, things like that. So those are things that I want to sit down and get your perspective on. I also want to sit down with Jasmine by herself. I want to screen her that's away from the parents, so it won't be as distracting. So it'll just be a time of me and her that we're sitting down. And it'll be more in like a play atmosphere. And so we'll be having dolls out and just talking through to see how Jasmine is feeling. Because like you said, she is experiencing some mood changes. And if that's all that's happened, then we can go from there. But there are some serious allegations.
Right. I mean, the county believe that you know, Jordan's brother may have sexually abused her, but you know, it's kind of shocking to us because Jasmine loves her uncle. Mm-hmm. You know,
and he's been so good to us, letting us stay with him.
Yeah, and so this comes as a really, you know, a shock to us. But you know what? We love Jasmine, and her safety is really important to us. So you do what you need to do. I just want to get this over with, and you know, go back and get on with our lives.
Counting a lot in her behavior.
So when can this?
I can actually get Jasmine in this afternoon for a sexual assessment. We can do the ASQ with you guys right now if you have enough time. It should take about 20 minutes.
Okay.
And then I can do the PTSD with Jasmine tomorrow morning. So we can get the assessments done right away. And then if there is a finding found, I can start intervention with Jasmine this next week.
And my role here is to really help coordinate services and do what I can. I know, Latasha, that you're concerned about work. I am able to come and pick up Jordan and Jasmine from the shelter and provide some of that transportation. I know that that's a concern for you guys, and I don't want to add to your stress. So we'll talk about what kind of practical things we can do to work on this together and make sure that you guys are getting the support that you need to be supportive parents for Jasmine.
So I think the whole gist is that we're all coming together in a collaborative plan, working on what's best for Jasmine, but also what's best for the parents. And so working together on the case plan so Jasmine can have healthy, stable emotional stability.